What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly for you guys as we discuss the previous week's results for the Chicago Bulls with 2 games being played, and also looking ahead and looking at the upcoming games and difficult games, I should say, as well for the Chicago Bulls, and seeing where we stand after that competitive week that we have to look forward to. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the current Chicago Bulls team. Where do you see us going from here? Is it upwards and onwards? Is it downward spiral? What is your thoughts on the Chicago Bulls at the moment? But before we do that, we had 2 games this week and we ended up going at a neutral record of 1-1. We versed the Atlanta Hawks, obviously, where we picked up a very important win, continuing that 6-game win streak. And obviously that 6-game win streak came to an end against the Memphis Grizzlies, where the Bulls were resilient, but we just could not find the way to win. Looking at the scores for this game, the first one obviously being the Atlanta Hawks. We won this game 112-108. At the end of the day, this game was a very, very good game for the Chicago Bulls in terms of, I guess, the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, again, pick-and-roll defense was exploited heavily. This was the debut of Tristan Thompson as well, and he had a phenomenal game as his debut. And the Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan as well. Really, really fantastic game here, and we picked up a very important victory against the Atlanta Hawks. Then obviously against the Memphis Grizzlies, where we were pretty much down the entire game. Let's be honest, we were much worse, I would say, compared to the Memphis Grizzlies. But the second half fight for the Chicago Bulls kept us in this game. And I honestly believe if we had 1 or 2 extra rebounders in the team, if we had someone that was able to secure a rebound a little bit more often in the game, we would have won this game against Memphis, because they did end up choking or getting close to choking a 17-point lead. So we won this game. We lost this game, 116-110. At the end of the day, we can live in hypotheticals, if, buts, and maybes, but whatever the case may be, we live in a reality. And the reality is we didn't have enough to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and they had every single right to win that game. And of course, Ja Morant. I'm really, really proud of a guy like Ja Morant. I know this is a Bulls channel, and I don't want to hype on about other players outside of the Chicago Bulls. Maybe I can make a channel later on about different NBA guys, but guys like Luka and guys like Ja Morant, these types of players that are really young and talented and have the world on their feet, and they're still performing night in and night out. I know I don't go for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't support the Memphis Grizzlies, but I'm super happy that they got a guy like Ja Morant. And Ja Morant, I'm super happy he's in the league. Same with Luka and these types of guys. They should be treasured by the NBA fans, and I think he's a fan favorite here for a reason. The fans at the United Center gave him a lot of praise for his performance against us, and at the end of the day, he walked away with his career high in points, and we walked away with a loss. So things that are a bit tough to swallow, but again, he put on a show, and that's why a lot of people love him. Now, let's look at, I guess, the awards for the Chicago Bulls. We give out, obviously, the must improve of the week, where we look at players that need to improve next week. The 6th man of the week, which will be very tough to decipher this week. We finally have competition for that award. And obviously, the player of the week, the ultimate best player that the Chicago Bulls had. The must improve is a very straightforward one. I've already given it twice to this guy in the space of 2 games, and it's going to be Nikola Vucevic. Again, I can understand why he's having a bad stretch in these last 2 games. He's versing one of the best defensive centers in the NBA in Clint Capella, and one of the best rebounding and screening centers in Steven Adams. I can completely sympathize with Vucevic for struggling, especially after not exactly having a consistent season throughout the whole period of this season. But he needs to get back to what he was prior to the All-Star break, and that's attacking the paint, going into the post, pick and rolls, cutting to the basket when he has the ball from the 3-point line. The great success of Nikola Vucevic was when those things were happening, and the 3-point shot became a second priority, not the main thing. We shouldn't see Vucevic as the main person to be out at the 3-point line and shooting perimeter shots, because that's when we've seen him struggle all season. Unfortunately, if things were different, I would love to see Vucevic at the 3-point line. If he was shooting 40% from the 3-point line, he was shooting it at a higher level of efficiency. It makes a lot of sense to put Vucevic out there if those were the case. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, he's not having that type of season like he was having with Orlando or even last year for the Chicago Bulls. So you have to go back to basics. You have to go to what works, and what works for Vucevic is in the paint. And until we see that, we will probably see Vucevic continue to struggle. So hopefully the next game against the Miami Heat and onwards, we can see Vucevic where he should be. That's dominating the paint down low. And I really think there's hardly anybody that can stop him when he's in that type of mode. Sixth man of the week, I said there's competition for this award, and I truly 100% believe in my heart there is. I know many people will just assume I'm going to say one guy, and maybe I will say that guy, but I want to give two shout outs to two players in terms of, I guess, this Sixth Man of the Week award. Firstly, obviously the debut of Tristan Thompson. His first two games have been really, really good for the Chicago Bulls, and I want to give him a lot of praise for coming in on relatively short notice. Of course, he's had some training with the Chicago Bulls here and there, but his debut and his second game of the season, and he's made big impacts, and it makes me believe that we can trust him as that backup center for the Chicago Bulls, and potentially more down the line if the coaching staff just wants to use him as the power forward. But I've come to really enjoy what Tristan Thompson brings. There is a slight weakness to his game. The free throw shooting has to improve, but he's been like that all season. He's only shot 51% from the free throw line, so I can't expect that to change overnight. But obviously, another guy that I want to give a shout out to is Coby White. A really strong game against Memphis. He was one of the guys that really put some timely shots in for the Chicago Bulls to keep us in this game against Memphis. I don't think his defense was terrifically splendid whatsoever against Memphis, but offensively, he was a big reason as to how we kept in this game with 15 points off of the bench. But I am going to give it to Tristan Thompson because I think if you weigh the two performances, I don't think Coby White had a great game against Atlanta, in which Tristan Thompson had a fantastic game against Atlanta, and Coby White was really, really good against Memphis. But Tristan Thompson, although the stats might not show what he brought to the game, the big run came when Tristan Thompson was on the court, and I really thought he should have finished the game. So I guess it's a message to the coaching staff as to why I'm picking Tristan Thompson, but it's also because he rightfully deserves that award. And being the sixth man of the week is a big thing because for the past few weeks, months really, we've only had Coby White to give it to, and other players that did get it probably was at a time where the bench was really poor. So congratulations to Tristan Thompson, and I'm going to be excited to see having these two guys compete for the award like that every single week. It's going to be a huge, big thing for the Chicago Bulls because it means the bench is improving, and it can only get better from here as well. The player of the week for me is DeMar DeRozan. Again, fantastic game against Atlanta. Really high efficiency, really high shooting numbers. Not the same against Memphis, but still dropped 31 points with 6 rebounds and 3 assists, I believe. It was a really good week for DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, that historic 35-point run for 8 consecutive games has come to an end. But ladies and gentlemen, he dropped 31. It's not like he had a horrible game to the point where he scored like 10, 12, 15 points. And it was on really, really bad shooting, didn't get to the foul line. The guy came close to continuing that history. Zach LaVine had a really good game against Memphis, but I don't think he was good enough to get player of the week based on his Atlanta Hawks game. So DeMar DeRozan is the guy to go with, ladies and gentlemen, and that seems to be all for the awards. Looking at the next week that we have, we got 3 games to look forward to, and 3 of these games will be very tough competitive games. But if the Chicago Bulls find those adjustments that what went wrong against Memphis, obviously the willpower and the desire to go and win some of these games and to prove a lot of people that say we haven't beaten good teams wrong before, this is their opportunity to do so. With the first game being against the Miami Heat. Again, we've lost twice to the Miami Heat. They are currently first in the Eastern Conference. It's first versus second. It's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. This game is going to be very big and very important. And relatively, these teams, compared to the last time we versed them, a little bit healthier. Miami obviously have Jimmy Butler, I believe, and Bam Adebayo. Big players for them returning. The last time they didn't have any of those guys. The Chicago Bulls, I don't think had anybody in the last time we played them. I can't even remember. Maybe we had Lonzo, but I don't remember. I know we didn't have Zach. I don't even think we had DeMar in this game. Maybe we had Lonzo and Vucevic. But yeah, we didn't exactly have a great team representing the Chicago Bulls either. That was when we had about 10 players in protocols. So It's going to be a completely different game from the last time that we versed them. And again, I still think we have an opportunity to win this game, but we're going to have to make some adjustments. We can't allow those poor starts and those poor runs in the game, what Memphis had with the Miami Heat, because they'll make you pay. They're a physical defensive team. In order to keep up with a team like Miami, you have to score, because they're going to bring the physicality defensively. You have to match that by scoring, because I don't think our defense will match theirs. They're going to be better defensively, in my opinion. So our offense has to match their defense, and we'll see what happens. Then we got a next game against the Atlanta Hawks. We versed them obviously a couple of days ago, and we'll verse them a couple of days from now. Also, it's a big, interesting game as well against Atlanta. This is probably the one game where I think the Chicago Bulls must walk away with the win, considering who we have after this as well, which is going to be a very big game, ladies and gentlemen. The game against the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Many people have marked this game on their calendar since obviously what happened to Alex Caruso. So we have a lot of points to prove in this game, and I think the Chicago Bulls will do everything in their power to try and beat the Milwaukee Bucks. This obviously was a game that wasn't probably going to be personal, but after what Grayson Allen did the last time out, many people have taken it as personal. So we'll wait and see if the Chicago Bulls have an extra level to go up to against that Milwaukee Bucks game. And of course, you always want to beat the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And as much as we want to disrespect Milwaukee for what they did to Alex Caruso and how they stuck by their decision of defending Grayson Allen and all of that, whatever it is, one thing you can't deny, Milwaukee Bucks are a great team when everybody's healthy and they're playing very strongly. So it's not a team that you can take lightly. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference right now. They might continue to push to try and get into that top 4, but they are a tough team and we can't take them lightly either. So those are the 3 games that we have to look forward to this week. Let me know in the comments below, how many games do you think we're going to win? I'm going to be a little bit brave here, and I'm going to say we're going to win 2 out of the 3 games. I think we're going to surprise either Miami or Milwaukee, and I think we have to beat Atlanta. It's the very common thing against Atlanta. You have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. I don't care what the situation is with Atlanta compared to the Bulls. We are expected to win that game, and in order for us to keep the standing in the way that it is, and for us to keep up that high level of basketball, when you have teams you're supposed to beat, you must beat them. It's very easy. It's very simple like that. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.